internet, consumers had little access to information produced outside the economic system, translating into a limited ability to access alternative sources of knowledge and a limited communicative capability. Corporations faced little resistance fixing meaning in the public mind until the widespread adoption of the internet and its culture of appropriation. This marked the redistribution of speech and power, in which the audience could no longer be restricted to the role of passive consumers, and was now empowered to actively contribute to cultural production by challenging, appropriating, and rearticulating meaning previously fixed by corporations. The rearticulation of corporate speech on the web destabilizes the meaning of corporate brands. Consumer resistance through public reinterpretation of privately owned messages, as Dr. Strangelove, author of The Empire of Mind, puts it, is now being globalized, embedded, and archived on the internet, where it is transmitted and can remain in circulation longer. The internet has become in essence a public archive, and corporations can no longer depend on the forgetfulness of consumers, as information is now easily stored and retrieved. Culture jamming is a social movement which involves media activism with one primary goal in mind, according to founder of Adbusters magazine, Callie Lassin: demarketing, the unselling of corporate brands by turning the incredible power of marketing against itself. In other words, it is an anti-advertising movement against the public landscape which has been desecrated by consumer culture, resulting in the loss of public voice. Culture jamming encompasses everything from illegal billboard alteration to computer hacking. San Francisco-based Billboard Liberation Front is a coalition of activists and artists that was established in 1977.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming to the Billboard Liberation Front head offices and retreat.
Because what we do at the BLF is we improve the advertising campaigns that we come upon. We find most advertising, and particularly billboard advertising, to be lacking in creativity, and my colleagues and I have spent many years going out and improving these campaigns as a service to the corporate world, to help improve their outlook and help improve their constituencies' view of their work and their products.
Now here's the trade secret. Strategic approach. Attention, interest, desire, and action. Attention. Is the billboard big? Interest. Is it a brand people care about? Desire. Do I feel like climbing up on that billboard? Action. Can I get my friends together and give them enough booze to convince them to help me do it?
Right.
Attention, interest, desire, and action.
The internet has become a strategic tool in cyber jamming. Callie Lassin outlines 4 basic techniques in his book Culture Jam. These include cyber petitions, virtual protests, such as linking people to visit your website where they can find creative ways to organize a protest, virtual sit-ins, immobilizing an enemy website by crashing it, or grip sites, creating and maintaining a website dedicated to bashing one particular corporation or brand. Culture jamming is not just about reclaiming the public landscape. It's about mobilizing others to launch an attack on the corporate consumer culture.
Culture jammers are meaning warriors. Their goal and purpose is to change the dominant meanings in society. While right-wing conservatives would tell you that meanings are created as products of our nature, leftist critiques, socialist, and postmodern theories believe that human actions are products of our social surroundings. Because TV and radio are largely one-way communication devices, the meaning makers, corporations, and the government have been able to generate quite a profit from the average consumer. However, the internet proves quite a challenge to the dominant capitalist meaning system. Its availability and alterability by all creates a system hard to control, a culture jammer's paradise. In a study by Weddergren, it was noted that culture jamming is not without a culture itself. Jammers emphasize an emotional attachment to a community aside from the consumer purchase of goods, to be without having to buy. This is the purpose of jammers and guerrilla artists who actively seek to manipulate capitalist culture and symbols, advocating new identities, unique yet in common. The community of the anti-culture online represents a commune of individuals under one belief, carrying a unique identity apart from consumerism. It's hard to imagine a world apart from the capitalist system, But if the theories of Dr. Strangelove in The Empire of Mind come to be true, the internet is central to the new social society. Where Marx would call jamming a revelation, not all theorists are positive about the role of the internet in creating a counterculture. Resnick believes that corporations and the state represent powerful interests who aren't so easily made unviable. The normalization thesis emphasizes the eventual reverting of all alternative discourses back to the capitalist system. Francis Fukyama advocated this in his end of history thesis, where he proclaimed that there will be no more ideologies after capitalism. Fan culture online is an excellent example of how the internet can be used to increase consumerism, promoting an identity based on consumer goods.
An aspect of capitalism would be the evolution of technology. For example, the computer and new forms of media. The computer and the internet are no longer used for professional use. In the past 20 years, it has become a staple in most North American households, allowing the individuals to have an access to the world at their fingertips. The internet has also become a venue for social and interest groups to speak their minds and communicate their issues in a quick and efficient manner. The internet has become a public domain for them to voice their opinions. In Dr. Strangelove, The Empire of Mind, he states that trajectory of capitalism provides considerable insight into how the internet is evolving as a site for social action. The internet has also become a domain for people to voice their opinions with what they project what is wrong with society. For example, the increasing cost of gas prices or the war in Iraq. Dr. Strangelove discusses terrorism, empire, and global capitalism. We have all been conditioned to believe that terrorism is a foreign concept that is placed on Western societies, which may not be true. Rather, terrorism is something that occurs every day by Western cultures. Further in the chapter, he states the following. Jean-François Lyotard also uses the metaphor of terror to describe the control systems of Western civilization. Western media has been able to terrorize people for years with propaganda, more than ever invading countries such as Afghanistan and Iraq and implementing their views on democracy and capitalism. The United States uses propaganda like no other country to promote democracy and capitalism all over the world, and most of their propaganda systems tell the general public that capitalism is the best economic system. Through these propaganda systems, such as the media, many vulnerable societies have been influenced or coerced into believing that capitalism is the best economic system to establish a successful and strong economy, which is another way America is able to spread its view and grow its empire. An individual who strongly disagrees with American tactics on democracy and capitalism is Noam Chomsky. In his book Necessary Illusions, he states that if democracy is to survive, the public must be reduced to its traditional apathy and obedience and driven from an arena of public debate and action. It is clear to see that he believed that the government and corporations have control about what we think and do. In his book Media Control, Chomsky also questions the role of the media in contemporary politics. He believes it forces us to ask what kind of world and what kind of society we want to live in. Media and politics both have a big influence on each other and also rely on each other to survive. Western propaganda systems are able to pour their messages into different media outlets to spread their message. One way that people who are not in support of the way many economic systems are run is through social movements. One social movement in particular that has gained a lot of attention in mainstream culture would be culture jamming. The following photo represents how culture jamming is used with the Coca-Cola ad to promote capitalism in a satirical way. By associating issues with such mainstream brands or ads, people are almost forced to think about the ad in a different way. It is the way in which underrated issues are brought to the forefront. Since there are many avid supporters of the anti-capitalist movement, culture jamming allows followers to engage in a different sphere that is very public. It makes people think about the irony in our society. Is it possible to truly enjoy capitalism in the current state of the global economy? Capitalism is all about free markets and free trade, but only a selection of countries truly get to enjoy the benefits of capitalism while others live through the repercussions.